Welcome to Let's Humanize the Workplace. My name is Vivian Acquah, and I'm the Inclusive Workplace Wellness Advocate. Today, I will keep the introduction short and brief, but knowing the topic, what it is all about, I do need to share, the reason why I do what I do, and it has to do with this boy. So Orlando is now 7, but in this picture, he was 3. And since we are talking about the state of working moms. Wow, 2020 has been a lot for working moms. So what I'll do is I will bring up the 6 mothers that I have invited to have this conversation. So if you just bear with me so that I can include them in the conversation. Let me see. And I am going to introduce them one by one. So just have a little moment and bear with me. So first of all, Tara is not the HR lady. She's a no BS exec who challenges the status quo on all things people. And she's the author of F, Your Office Snacks, and a mom of 7. Cordelia is the emotions opener transformation strategist, guiding leaders to use their darkest and most difficult emotions to show up powerfully. Humaira is the founder and CEO of Locelle, and Locelle is a global private platform created for women in the workplace based in British Columbia. Stella is a master's student in gender studies, and she's also the host of Salt, the podcast, and has 12 years of work experience in the higher education sector. And Elizabeth is a licensed attorney, a conflict resolution expert, women and disability advocate, and also negotiation coach. And last but not least, Camilla is an ambitious supply chain and operations professional and an NGO founder, and also the mother of 2 young kids from the age of 2 and 5. And I am welcoming these ladies. They are all rock stars when it comes to as a working mom. So let's jump into the first question. I'll skip the question of let's humanize the workplace because I feel like, by now we should all know why it is important. But let's reflect on this year. What happened? What happened in 2020?
What didn't happen?
What happened, Tara?
Everything happened. What didn't happen this year? I mean, we've all become, educators. We've all become nannies and friends and reading buddies and tutors and home chefs and whatever else. That's just with the kids, right? And that's not even all of it. And then, with the whole world of work shut down as we know it. I'm a person who travels, 100 or so plus days a year. And to not do that anymore is so weird. I haven't been on an airplane in 9 months. It's bananas. Every way we interact with people has literally changed. We're living in some kind of virtual space where this is our normal.
Yeah.
It's certainly been a year of, I think, challenging us all in pretty much every conceivable way.
Definitely. Elizabeth, you're nodding your head.
This year has been the year that I have questioned my priorities. I have looked at how I want to do life. I've looked at how I want to experience relationships. I've looked at what community actually means to me, how to define community. I've looked at how do I want to show up in the world as a mother? How do I want to show up in the world as a woman first and then a mother? How do I want to show up in the world as a partner? How do I want to show up in the world as a professional and as a businesswoman? And I think 2020, as awful in many senses as 2020 has been, there has been a glimmer of hope in that it's caused us to have these sorts of conversations. And we've had conversations in the past, right? We've talked about, we need to make the workplace better for women. We need to make the workplace better for mothers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I think organizations are starting to see it in a different way. There's a mass exodus going on with women and we have to make some changes. So 2020 has definitely been a year for the books. And it's something that I think that we all have, hopefully we've grown from, and that we can continue to grow so that we can help our children grow as well.
I can only say amen to both of you, right? And Camilla?
I think 2020, it's been very interesting to see how everybody has reacted to 2020, because some have really seen it a little bit what Elizabeth said, like it's also a time to sort of rediscover your own, what you really want to do with life. Some people are going into depression, some people have anxiety, some people are like reevaluating everything. And I think everybody's sort of suffering in their own way. And I know even within my little family, like we're 4 people and each person has a different reaction. So it's really a lot to sort of listen to and trying to navigate and see how do we need to make this work for everybody and sort of create a space that's livable for everybody. And I think that has been our unique challenge of 2020.
Thank you. Humaira?
Yeah, I mean, what everybody said, just echoing to that, but also really, I would say that 2020, in some ways, it's been more hopeful and a time of reflection, because traditionally, up until now, it was always the working moms. And of course, we were talking about working mothers today. But I think workplaces are also starting to see the working dads and just people living alone. And, there's a lot of challenges for each one of us today, different challenges, but it's always, in some ways, I find, especially where we live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, that it's almost providing a bit of equity. It's like I've always struggled because I'm a working mother. I have 2 kids, 4 and 6, both girls. But also, and my partner, my husband, he works also like 70-hour work weeks, right? So just even seeing like we're having to work from home. He does most of the drop-offs and pickups. And in some ways, it sounds bad, but it feels good, because I see you laughing here, but it's like everybody is having to face different challenges, that working mothers have been facing for a long time. I think so. I am just going to be that positive entrepreneur who's going to see what positive has come of this situation. And I think, it's sad, the state of working mothers just in general. But I think there's a message of hope there.
Yeah. Stella?
Yes, so what has happened this year, we had Zoom calls with our babies in our laps. We've given presentations with our children walking in, and we've kind of blurred the lines between the working world and the private sphere, which I don't believe in anyway. And through that, I think we came closer because our clients, our customers, our colleagues have seen more of us, like we've become more vulnerable. But then also on the other hand, it had a huge impact on working mothers, especially also single mothers, because in general, we still do most of the reproductive work. And there have been moments where at the end of the day, you felt like, oh my God, I didn't do anything well because I've been all over the place and I haven't done anything well. And you go to bed kind of frustrated. And another topic that is also not so positive is that there has been also an increase, of course, in domestic violence because we've been stuck in our houses. And that's another thing that happened in 2020.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Cordelia.
Yeah, welcome to my world, all you. I've been working from home like the past 5 years with my kids and harmonizing life. But, seriously, this has been, to Humaira's point, it's been a slowdown, an opportunity to harmonize, an opportunity to, on an individual family basis and on an individual woman and man basis, see ourselves and see how we can prioritize our own care, right? So that we can show up as full professionals. And for businesses and organizations, they get a chance to see the human beings that work for them. And it's been an opportunity for them to reassess their policies. And to Elizabeth's point, by the way, like 80% of women have left the workforce. Men have gotten 4 times promoted, 4 times more than they normally would have. And Which, if you're married, that's not a bad thing, right? Because now your husband's making more money. That's kind of a plus, right? But if you already were grappling with your career as a mom, it is frustrating on another level, right? Your husband got a promotion, you had to leave your job, and now you're a housewife, and you never wanted to do that anyway. And let's just be real, that does, drain you mentally. And yes, there has been a serious and detrimental spike in global domestic violence. So that is a panoramic view.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I totally can share something about myself. So to be honest, my partner stepped up. He wanted me to make the notion that, yes, we are not a traditional family. I was working more so that he can pick up our son, but also can bring him to school and do some of the things that are there. But it's unfortunate to see that so many families did keep a traditional role, whereas the woman is doing it all, and eventually she's not recharging herself. And that's where I feel we all have failed women in this way. We all have failed ourselves when we are doing that, when we are allowing to step backwards instead of forwards, because there were so many. Wasn't it 100 years ago that we were able to vote? Wasn't it 100 years ago, 50 years ago, that we were able to participate in the workplace? And now we're leaving the workplace, something that Gallup is saying that our career well-being is so important. Some of us identify ourselves with our career, with a job, or feeling different than being called all the time with mom this, mom that, mom do this, mom do that. And we want to be something different. So what I've learned from 2020 is I've learned a lot from my son. I've learned to listen to him, but I also learned that I value the title, the role that I have besides being a mom all the time. That I still love them, I still have my partner, but I also like the separate life that I have besides them. Yeah. But now is the time that we are challenging leaders, or we are not nudging them, but pushing them to do something, to step up, to prevent women from leaving the workplace. So I'll start with Stella.
Yes, I have quite a list actually of practical
Oh, you have
tips.
a list.
Of course.
Bring it on.
So flexible working hours. Let mothers work from home when the kids are sick. Give them flexibility in the morning. You have to look good, bring them to the daycare, bring them to the school, get the metro or your bike or your car. That creates a lot of stress. So don't expect them to be there at 9. Don't look at women as super women, because by looking at them as super women or heroes, you move away from taking responsibility, because a hero and a superwoman, she can do it all. She doesn't need your support. She doesn't need anything from you. And you make your life easy as an employer, as the government.
I do have to add something. When I say leaders, I'm also talking about the self-leaders. And this thing that you are sharing about superwoman, we also need to stop others from seeing us as superwoman, as, the woman with the 8 hands here, the Indian version where she's carrying it all.
The octopus.
We need to stop that. Yes, we need to stop that. Yes, continue.
Yes, so the superwoman thing. And leaders have to realize that we cannot work from home and take care of our kids simultaneously. That's what it is. As I said earlier, at the end of the day, you don't do anything right. So either they provide you flexible working hours, or they give you some access to backup childcare, that they, hire a nanny for you. And the other thing that I have on my list is they have to modify your objectives, because the objectives you set in 2019, you cannot fulfill them right now with everything happening. So these are some things that I have to say.
Thank you, Stella. Stella has spoken. Humaira.
Yeah, of course, everything that Stella said. I was thinking about this question, and, I'm a leader, and, I have a team. We've actually grown during the pandemic to support our community. And this is what I see in terms of, I think having more women in leadership positions is key, because we come from that lived experience and can actually, it's like feeling that pain and providing solutions to that pain. So, providing that supportive network, providing mentorship, professional development opportunities, connecting them with other mothers. And I think this is a great platform. But just, again, other working mothers. And, sometimes we look around and we don't see people, in our shoes. I saw this post on Facebook, and I think it's made its round, but it's talking about how, we are not in the same boat. We are in the same storm, perhaps, but not in the same boat. Our situations are different. So looking at, the working mothers, providing solutions that address their problems and providing that flexibility. We need to do a lot as leaders to create an environment of support, flexibility, and also acknowledging the value that we bring to the workplace. Thank you.
Camilla.
I think a lot of the one thing that's also really important to mothers and to any parent during this period, there is so much uncertainty. So we're having really clear communication and clear sort of plans about the future and what can happen and what cannot happen. So if there is a risk of people losing their jobs, which there will be for many companies, and that is just a fact that we unfortunately have to deal with, but then at least give some kind of a horizon that people can plan for. If you expect that you want people back in the office, then let people know, okay, we're always, when we go back to the office, you can expect that we will give you a couple of months notice, and we can let you, still work from home if that's what you need for your family. So just, again, give some flexibility, but also be really clear on the communication and what that mother or any parent has to plan for going forward. Because this, like, dealing with, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and you can't plan a week ahead, is very, very difficult.
Yeah. And I would also like to add on, if you have to let go of people, do it with the utmost respect. And also know that behind every woman, there is a whole family, there is a whole network. And if you don't let go of them in a respectful way, they are forever devastated. And that is also passed on towards their children or their surroundings. So please provide the right tools, maybe give a budget to upskill for training, for instance, so that they can do something with the time that they have left in your workplace and learn something new, so that they can become agile within this lockdown. So yes.
Yeah.
Cordelia.
And I have, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yes, continue. Yes.
No, I just wanted to say, so I lost my job during COVID, and I was lucky enough to get a new job. And I just have the new company that I'm now working for have done a lot of things, I think, during this period. So they've given every employee an extra day off every month, to just have an extra, like a long weekend every month, so you can spend time with the family. They have made sure that everybody have a subscription for Headspace. So we have a meditation app. They have gotten like virtual sports training that people can join. They're really in all the sort of team events there. Or there's a lot of focus from the leadership and from colleagues on really saying, okay, you have to take care of yourself first. Make sure you spend the weekends being with your family and not trying to do overwork. We need everybody to stay sane and stay healthy during this period. And I think that is an amazing thing that companies can do. It's a good example. And the good thing is that it makes me want to do more. It makes me more committed to the company as well. So it's an upside.
Yeah, thank you. Cordelia.
Yeah, so I'm going to speak from the self-leadership perspective, and I want to address the superwoman persona that we take on, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to be and not do. It's okay to prioritize you, replenish yourself. Because if you don't pour into yourself, you don't have anything to give anyone. And the priority should be you, then your family, then your job. So I just want to remind women of that that first and foremost, please release the need to do what's expected and accepted. And if you have a partner that's pushing the what's expected, then, you know, that there's maybe it's time to reassess that as well. But most importantly, you know, what I'm seeing on my end is women unnecessarily stressing themselves out. And I know it sounds harsh, but it is unnecessary, because if you're in a house full of people, and I can say this because I have 6 kids, right? If you're in a house full of people and they're able-bodied and they're old enough and they're not going to do anything and they expect you to do it, then, you know, guess what? You become the priority. Only you. And part of that priority, you know, is making sure that you take time to just have, you know, space alone, go hiking, be in nature, dance, pray, meditate, whatever it is that calms you down or helps you to embody more joy. Because when you're coming from a place of joy, and start your day with, what joy can I create in my life today? Don't run that to-do list. So that's what I want to offer. Yeah.
It reminds me of the saying when you are sitting in an airplane and they are saying, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you give it to your child or to whomever. And that is exactly what you have been sharing. We cannot pour from an empty cup. Help others, supporting others while we are on the edge. So please, mothers, sisters, aunties, I ask of you, please take care of yourself first before you take care of somebody else. Elizabeth.
I want to address this from a corporate leader standpoint, what organizations can do. I think, one, we need to slow down on these meetings. I work in an organization where I'm in meetings for 3 to 5 hours per day. Per day, yes, per day. And that doesn't give me time to actually do the work. That doesn't give me time to mother in the way that I need to mother in this season of my life. That doesn't give me an opportunity to plan and think about, how do I want my week to look? So I think organizations should really think about, how can they create some type of policy? How do they create some type of procedure where they can say, 1 day a week, no meetings? Or if you work on a very small team, hey, on this Thursday, there will be no meetings whatsoever. I think that's going to do a lot for mothers in the workplace, because it gives them an opportunity to at least look forward to that day, to say, okay, now I can truly plan and be successful. I think organizations can also consider creating a parent employee resource group. This is an opportunity, just like we're doing right now. All of us are together, all 6, 7 women. We're kind of talking things out. We're processing together. We're kind of sharing ideas. This is a great way for women, whether we are entrepreneurs, whether we're in the corporate space. I call us corporate babes. Those are in the corporate spaces. Whether we are simply stay-at-homes and we work part-time gigs on the side. This is an opportunity for us to kind of just reflect with one another and have a chance to really just say, hey, you know, Vivi, I was thinking about something you said the other day. How are you handling this? I know your son just turned 7 recently, a few months ago. Mine did too. What's he doing right now? Let's exchange some ideas. I think that would be a wonderful way to really build community and strengthen that community. Lastly, well, actually, I got 2 more. But one, I also think organizations need to create a quality transition plan. There are some women that are taking FEMLA right now. Within the United States, we have the Family Medical Leave Act, which allows you up to 12 weeks to leave an organization for a medical reason, medically associated reason. Many women are doing that. They don't want to leave their jobs, but they need time. And many organizations will grant that time, but they don't create a quality transition plan. So if I leave for 12 weeks and I come back and you just drop a bunch of work on my desk, I'm not going to be successful. That doesn't allow me to strategize in a way to be successful on my exit and on my return, and will actually cause me to want to leave even faster before the 12 weeks are even up, right? So organizations need to do that. And lastly, respecting the work-life alignment. I know many women that they are out of the office. You get their out of the office email, but they're responding to emails. They're dialing in on the calls. And I'm like, no, you're out of the office. Get out of the office. If you are out of the office, be out of the office, because what happens is that you're training your colleagues, your managers, the leaders in the organization, you're training them that when you're out of the office, you're not really out of the office. And we always have a way to get to you. So I tell women, if you're out of the office, truly be out of the office. Put your out of office on. Don't log in. Don't check email. Don't text someone to find out what's going on. Allow yourself to be away and out of the office. Close the books for the night, close the books for the week, however long that you're away, and walk in the grace that you're given. Because if you don't take advantage of that time, then you're going to truly be burned out.
Tara.
So that's a perfect segue, like Elizabeth and I planned it and we didn't. But what, kind of piggybacking on the whole out of the office thing, and I'm guilty of this. I talk a lot. I'm really self-deprecating on all my faults from a lead perspective on my show and in my writing. And I can tell you that having been a top HR leader, a top chief executive people officer for 12 years, in the childbearing years of my life, I was absolutely terrible at demonstrating a quality workplace for women. And I can admit that with my first child, oh my gosh, I did a webinar in the hospital 3 days after having a C-section with my second child. And I had my husband at the time stand guard at the door so that no nurses came in because they couldn't interrupt it. So hear me out. I'm the top leader. And I think at this time, this is a long time ago. This is way back when. But I get into this space and I am demonstrating exactly what not to do. When you're talking about having a mother-friendly workplace environment, and I should be the epitome of that, seeing as how I sort of run people for this pretty big company. And it was very quickly that I realized the error of my ways. And I'm like, gosh, no one should do this. No one should return from maternity leave. No one should ever, sacrifice for their families, certainly at the highest leadership level. So to Elizabeth's point, from a corporate perspective, it's up to us and those of us who work with clients, who work within companies, et cetera, to really demonstrate what being a working parent looks like at all levels of leadership. These guys are dads, all of these dudes who run all these companies, who are on these boards, they all have children. And I bet a single person has ever asked them who's watching their children. But I bet everybody in this room on this panel today, and probably every woman watching, at one point or another in the workplace had said to them, who's watching your children? And so we have to do better when we're in a position of leadership. That's using that privilege, that leadership privilege of demonstration and leading by example and fighting for others to have the same sort of advantages that executives have sometimes, right? So I can 12 weeks off of work because I can work from home and whatever. I'll give people who work in our call center who might be penalized because they don't qualify for FMLA, to Elizabeth's point. They haven't been at the company here. There could be a reason why they sort of get let go and there's privileges for others. And that's why I go back to what we can all do, what companies can do, is really demonstrate from the top what a family-friendly leadership team looks like, a family forward organization. It's great to have all these benefits and blah, 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 but it is really more important when you have them that the people in the highest positions are demonstrating how to use them effectively so that other people follow that behavior. Because guess what? If somebody's pregnant on my team, they're going to come and they're going to think that I expect them to come back to work. I don't. That's just me. But they're not going to know that. And that's a difficult conversation. Communication is super critical, as we've said as well. But also with that comes demonstration and the demonstrating those good behaviors and that sort of environment that you're talking about, that you're telling the company is about, really living it, I think really brings the message home, especially in these times when we're virtual. Oh, I got an awesome, yay!
Definitely. What I do want to say, and it has nothing to do with us working mom. I also have to applaud a working dad who I admire. I talk a lot about Alexis Ohanian, the way he's stepping up and the way he's also advocating for dads to step up, dads to show up, dads to have parental leave, dads to have some PTO so that they can also have some time and the space to take care of the kids. So yes, this episode it's about working moms, but I'm not forgetting the dads as well because it is a family thing and it is us challenging companies to do better for both parents in the workplace. But because of the strain that has, or the toll that it has taken on working moms, that's why I'm dedicating this episode to working moms as well. Yeah. I
Can I just say something really quick, Vivian? Like, I love that you brought dads into it, but like, let's take a breath, okay? Men have always been dads and always been in the workplace. And unfortunately, it's taken until all of this time for all of us to talk about moms working in the workplace and what that looks like. So while I'm appreciative of all of their efforts, let's be us right now. Let's not give any credit to the men right now because they've been given a lot of credit, and it's perfectly okay for us to say that moms have a unique situation and a unique challenge in the workplace that really see, this is why it'd be better if we ran the world, because we think about dads. We think about we're empathetic, right? Like, you're sitting here kind of not wanting to hog all the credit for mom because there are really great working dads out there, but they get all the credit like already. So let's just take this one live session today and say, dads, look, we get you, but right now it's about us. And let's just talk about moms, right? Because
speaking of moms, what is the one message that you have for mothers who are tiptoeing around? Shall I leave? Or shall I stay? Shall I leave? Shall I stay? Tara, let's start with you.
You know, I am in the same space as I think a lot of people talked about what 2020 had reflected upon for them and what they've reflected on. I want everyone to do whatever makes them happy. Like, I want you to just chase your passion. And if that's staying in the workforce, working for an organization, do that. If that's a part of your identity, do that. If that means that you want to go and create your own thing, whatever that is, with whatever passion that you have now, whatever renewed interest COVID has given you, whatever gift of COVID, because I think we talked a lot about the struggles and stuff, and we did talk a little about the gifts, but there's been a lot of good that's happened this year. And I think like looking at like the nuggets and that self-reflection piece is so vital because, wow, what an opportunity we have now to think about everything differently, whether I want to stay in the workplace, whether this whole stay-at-home mom gig, even though I didn't even want kids to begin with, it's kind of cool. I like it. Like, I don't know if I want to do it full time, but man, I like them being here. It's cool to be together. I think you really start to think about what is really important to you. And I think for so many of us, what we've realized all along, but never had enough of, is time. And this has given us time, whether we wanted to or not. And I think we've all gotten through it in our own ways. But at least it's my takeaway. And almost everybody I've talked to is this space has given time to work on that book you've been trying to write, time to paint that thing you were doing, to spend that whatever with your kids. I'm not saying like all woo-woo goalie and stuff, but like you've had time to focus a little bit more on you where you otherwise would have said you were too busy.
Yeah, true. Cordelia.
You know, I want to just say that this is the time for you to actually speak up for what you truly desire. All the times that you never said, this is what I desire, this is what you as an employer need to integrate into the culture here, this is what you as my partner, my husband, or my children need to do to make this family more harmonious and work. This is your time. Don't cower. Don't I'm just going to give in. Nope. Stand up for what it is that you truly love, what you truly desire, and tell everybody. Don't hold your tongue at all. Tell everybody and be very, very clear. It's okay. And stand up for, in order for me to keep working, this is what needs to happen. And a man would do that. Men do it all the time. And, even if it includes, I need a raise, even if it includes, you're going to have to hire a tutor for my kids, whatever it is, say it. This is the time. Yeah. Don't just run out.
Thank you. Humaira?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. This is what I actually was thinking. Somebody said, oh, you need a COO, to do a lot of the delegation and stuff like that. And I would love to hire a COO. I just can't pay for them. But this is what I said. I said, instead of a COO, I would love to have a nanny. I would love to have a cook. I would love to have somebody to come and clean the house. I live with diagnosed OCD, okay? And so if my kids or my husband are not tidying up after themselves, I'm the one who's going to do it because we all work from home. And my office is tidy, but I will be going into the kitchen to get coffee, and it's going to be stress on my mind to see dishes out and everybody's clothes are all over the place. So now I'm having to work extra to, have systems in place where somebody suggested a bin with their names, and it's a lot. Okay. And so anyway, so I think this is exactly what it is. Ask for what you want. Don't let others dictate what you should want or you should have. I want to do the work, the CEO. I mean, sure, I can still do all that work, but the homework is driving me crazy. So I would say, to all the working moms who might be thinking about leaving the workforce, to what even Tara said, do what's best for you. Think long-term. COVID is here. We know that. It might be here for another year. Who knows? But really think about long-term. Don't make those, rushed decisions. You want to take time off? Take time off. I think that's okay. So this is, the time to do those things. If you want to take time off, take time off. Be bold in asking for what you want, because if you don't do it now, this is a good chance. So which is why, again, the hopeful message, this is our chance to truly ask for what we want. And connect with others who are, the social media facade, and I know we're all also seeing that, nobody's lives are perfect. I've been off social media in terms of Instagram sharing for at least a week or so. And it's because, I am overwhelmed. So I'm not going to post, I'm out with my kids walking around the beautiful neighborhood. That's not, no, I'm mad because they're not doing their chores. So I think it's just taking that time off, not pretending to have this amazing life. And I see my friends, it drives me crazy. They're still posting, and I know we're all struggling, and I know they're struggling. But just like, they're out and about, they're enjoying the holiday season. Like, stop that, okay? Stop that, be that role model. If you can't be vulnerable, at least don't show, we're doing amazing, going back to the super mom, superhero situation. Like, we're not. And when people say, Humaira, you're killing it. No, So I think, anyway, just be authentic. Take that time off if you need to. Ask for what you want. Connect with others, and to make the time to ask how they're truly doing. So that's what I would say.
Stella.
Yes, speaking up, that's definitely something we have to do. But we also need to be aware that we are all based in the global north. So we are very privileged where we are. And there are women in the global south that are not at all. They cannot say, let me take time off. They don't have a lot of the options that we have. So what I think is also important, and Elizabeth mentioned it earlier, to create community, to be good allies to each other, to support each other, inspire each other, see how we can be there for each other, like literally, not just with words, but with actions. So yeah, that's something that I find very, very important.
Thanks for sharing. Camilla?
Yeah, I'm really worried about this situation, to be honest, because the thing is that there is one thing is to take leave for a while and come back to the workplace, but we know that when this happens, a lot of women do not return to the workplace, and not necessarily because they chose to be at home, but because, you know, now they're so far behind, or now they got so used to being in that home position, and the rest of the family got used to that, and that this feels like the only way forward. Just like we see in so many countries that all those girls we fought so many years and decades to get into schools, and now they get taken out of school, and we know that many of them are not going to return. So I feel like we're getting set back decades, all what our sisters and mothers and everybody fought for decades in front of us is sort of being ripped away in 1 year. So I mean, if you want to go home, or if you need to go home, then do that, make that decision for yourself and your family, but make sure that if your preference is to work and have a career, just try to pull on every lever that you can before you make that decision. And I think often we are sort of in the negotiation with our partner, and they say, yeah, you know, you earn more than me. It's like, yeah, you know why I earn less than you? That's because I gave birth to our babies, then I took parental leave. Then I was set behind, then I did not make all those steps in my career that you did while I was out of the workplace. So you have to sort of look at the whole picture, renegotiate at home, as Cordelia said, renegotiate in the marketplace, ask for the help that you can get. If you still need to take leave from work, then make a plan for how you're going to come back to work. Make sure that while you're out of the workplace, that you keep your network going and you keep checking in with the colleagues and the people still working, so you have a way in afterwards. And see if there's some way that you can maybe do like small projects or something that sort of keeps on re-educating yourself, whatever you can keep you in touch with the workplace and the career that you want to have after the period of leave is over, because this period will end. We will at some point get back to normal, and we need to be able to then step back into the roles and the careers that we want to have, that we've fought so many years to get to.
Amen. Amen. Elizabeth.
That was a perfect segue, because I literally said to myself, creating a career strategy is what women can do that feel that they have to leave in this season of their lives. First, I would say, you know, if you're thinking about leaving, don't. But if you have to leave, make sure that you are very aware of what your options are, and you create a 24 to 36 month strategy plan on how you're going to continue your education while you're at home, how you plan on reaching out to certain individuals, who are you going to continue to network with, as far as if you are working within a corporation, how are you going to continue to stay in contact with your clients if you have to shut down your business, things of that nature. When women are very strategic, we are very naturally strategic. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. But when women implement on their strategies and they create these strategies, they are more successful. And we have seen that not just only for individuals, but we've seen that in large organizations. We've seen that in small organizations. You can't just have an idea and a wish, right? Hope is not a strategy. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you are very clear about what it is that you want. Okay, COVID's probably not going to be here in 3 to 5 years, right? I may need to be home for the next 2 years. This is what I intend to do. This is what it's going to look like in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, etc. And then execute on that. Look for the community so that you have that accountability, so that you can continue your education if you need to, so that you can volunteer, so you can continue to flex your courage muscle as far as your particular skill sets are concerned, and then continue to walk out that strategy to success. That way, once COVID goes away, you're not sitting there lamenting and commiserating about, oh my God, my life is ruined because I had to stay home with the kids. And on top of that, you don't want your children to hear that, because you don't want your children to emotionally process that as though they were the ones that ruined your lives, right? So it's very important that we're very strategic in our approach and how we communicate with everyone in our community.
And I want to just add, I'm sorry, I just have to add, I don't want to encourage women to volunteer in this period. Consult, work as a consultant, get paid. Okay. Do not volunteer.
Excellent
get
point.
Paid.
Excellent point.
So,
good one.
I do have something to build upon everything that you all shared. Whether you want to leave or not, it's important to have a mentor. It's important to maybe seek for a sponsor, somebody who has already walked the journey that you are aiming to walk in, but you have to take a pause. Look for a role model that can help you, that can support you, that can be your cheerleader, that can champion you, but can also hold up a mirror so that you can make a deliberate decision about your future. Because I want you to be the best person that you can be, that I know that you can be. But this COVID lockdown, this whole situation, I mean, I have to be honest, in the beginning, the funk, I wasn't, talking like this because I was dealing with my own fire at home. But then again, we made it to the end of this year, and I will be sure that we will make it happen in 2021. Now is the time that we speak up to make that change, whatever change that is, to make it happen. That's my wish for you. So going to the final question, 2025. I mean, 2021 is already knocking on our doors, right? Now we are heading to 2021. Cordelia, one wish that you have when it comes to humanizing the workplace and working mothers, what is that?
That we will have harmony as far as allies, as far as men being allies for women, women being allies for women in the workplace. There will be a different strategy surrounding community support for children's education. It could almost be like for women who have kids, right? The kids could be in a pre-internship program. And that would be a way for they're building legacy for themselves and, for the company, and helping the mother at the same time and helping the next generation. So
a happy mom is a happy employee.
Happy mom is a happy family too. So
definitely. Stella.
My wish for 2025 is that we should value the moms, like value them, value the mothers in the workplace, because at the end of the day, we are the ones that produce the workforce. So we are the ones that produce the people that you need. So if we are not healthy, if we are not fine, if we don't feel respected and honored, then our kids are not fine either. As Cordelia said, our family won't be well. So value the moms.
Yeah, and kids remember. Kids, what I see with the new generation is they see how horrible some companies have treated their family, or how horrible some companies have been in the past, or maybe now during this whole lockdown, and especially with this whole Google search, and you can find everything. Everything is there. So please step up and do better for moms. Tara. You're muted.
It's the quote of 2020. You're muted. So I have a big one that's, for the US, because we're so behind in the times as compared to other countries. I would love for us to have a federal paid parental leave program that is substantive regarding both time and continuing that compensation, because I don't know about you guys, but how do you take time off if okay, so let me give you a really good example. Right now, we've just the country, at least in the US, we've run out of money, right? We're so far in debt that it's just absolutely bonkers, trillions and trillions and trillions. I don't even know if there's a number really. I don't know if anybody actually knows what it is, but it's so big. And yet we are all supposed to figure out how to have a kid, continue to pay our insurance benefits, our insurance premiums. Because in the US, again, we have a really fucked healthcare system. And we pay like a ton as an employee, most people who have families, especially. Some places cover it, but not most. So we have like a portion that we pay. So like, but we have no protections aside from FMLA. Some states have some paid, like California has, I think, 6 or 8 weeks or something that the state supplements, but it's 60% of your income. So you already just took a huge pay cut. Then you get basically no time off. I mean, it's pretty abysmal. It's like 12 weeks, but it's not paid. But you still have to keep those insurance premiums paid because guess what? You have a baby now. And postpartum is like a real thing. I'm sure I don't have to tell anyone there. And so for me, in 2025, I really hope that the US specifically will catch up with the rest of the world in offering a little bit better protections and paid leave for all parents, but specifically for the moms who endure the physical labor, but all parents. We need time to bond. We need time to be able to step away from our job and put that out of office on and mean it so that we have that time with our kiddos. That's what I'd love to see.
Love it. Elizabeth.
5 years from now, I would like...
No, 4.
Well, okay, 4. Almost. I would like to see less conversations like this. The reason why we're having this conversation is because there is an issue. We know that there's an issue around the world. I can only speak from a US perspective. In the United States, there's definitely an issue, to all the points that Tara articulated so well. I would like to see that organizations have policies that make sense, that are empathetic, that actually lead people to loyalty within the organization and lead career women to success. I would like to see legislators doing the things that they need to do, that we've been marching about for the last 25 years. I would like to see organizations commit to making the workplace so human that it's not even a question for us. If something odd happens, it's such the exception and not the rule that it's more shocking, instead of saying, as I've heard many of my colleagues say, a lot of working moms say, I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. So in 4-ish years, I think it would be amazing where we can get to that point where, although we're having this conversation, we're talking about what has transpired, how much we've grown as a society, and how we have continuously humanized the workplace. Thank you.
Camilla.
I put more or less the same thing as Tara. I would love to see not only better maternity leave. So I'm from Denmark, and we actually have pretty good conditions. The problem is that it's just for women. So what I would really like to see is that we have earmarked parental leave. Ideally, the same period for men and women, say 6 months each. So it's expected when you hire a man or a woman that each one of them is going to take a parental leave when they have kids. That way there will be no liability to hire a woman over a man. So that will give us the same entrance when we start. We'll be set back the same amount whenever we have kids. And that gives us a much better equal platform to build on. And for our children, it's just very healthy. Like that, they see a dad who's immediately a role model and a main caretaker from the first year of their life.
Love it. Thank you. Humaira.
Yeah, we're so lucky in Canada. We do get a year-long maternity leave if you have worked in the workplace. Sure, it is about 60% of your pay. It's still fine. I took it every time, 2 times. But what I would love to see is really have some systems change. I think the problem is that the leadership is predominantly male, male leaders, and they make policies, and they have a system, workplaces that are designed for men for the most part. So it's no surprise that we struggle with a lot of things. So I think having more women in leadership, having systems change, and really look at the future of work. We talk about future of work, but what is future of work? And because again, the systems are not designed for women in the workplace. And instead of us adapting to whatever's out there, I think systems need to change. And that's going to take a long time. We acknowledge that, but just to see little steps go a long way, whether that's, to Camilla's point, having, perhaps mandatory, parental leave. It may not work for everybody, but just at least having that opportunity or that chance to be off, and to come back into the workplace, and same for men. But I definitely think that having more women in leadership will create those systems change. And it goes with everything, whether it's a product, a service. It just blows my mind how so many things are designed for women, created by men. I think just more women in leadership, more decision making, that's what I would hope to see.
Given the fact that we carry the pain for at least 8 months, given the fact that we give birth in whatever way, we know how to survive and thrive and everything. And all I have to say is, we need our seat at the table. We need to make the decision. We need to make the workplace woman friendly in general, in period, and never, ever, 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 ever doubt a woman from the moment that she shares she's pregnant. Unfortunately, I've been in that situation, but I will never tolerate that ever from anyone ever. So if you are in a situation like that, know that you can share it anonymously. This is not the 2020 or the 2025 that I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for workplaces that are honoring women, that are having, breastfeeding friendly rooms instead of the toilet. That's a whole nother conversation next year. But I do want to encourage the companies that are doing their best for women. I want to applaud them and say, be the inspiration for other companies that are maybe seeking inspiration in this field. So I want to say thank you to all the amazing mothers that were on my panel. And I feel a little bit privileged, because I wish I had them in my ear when I became a mom. I wish when I was pregnant, I had you all in my ear, because hearing this, hearing so much valuable thoughts of encouraging mothers, of empowering mothers, whether they want to stay or leave, it's heartwarming. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
To the viewers, this will be, I think it's episode 83 or 84. I don't know. I don't remember, because that is the situation of us being in lockdown in the Netherlands. So my mind is just like, okay, I'm scrambled at the moment. But I do have one request, and it's not all I want for Christmas, Mariah Carey, but all I want for Christmas is show the podcast or the broadcast a little bit of love, so that I can continue to do these types of conversations, so that we can work together towards a humanized workplace. So I have one more episode left for next week, and that will be the last one for this year. But know that I will keep pushing the needle when it comes to humanizing the workplace, speaking up about topics that we need to address, such as the state of the working mom. So thank you all for watching this episode, and until the next time. I'm seeing one comment coming in. Let me see you showing up. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing a heart. Let me see the other ladies. Thank you, ladies, and until next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for creating this space. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.